Do you see any ethical concerns over that?
No. No, I did. The money was not tied to anything. The money.
We don't let students leave early.
Well, you did, and that's, I guess, what I'm trying to get at. Who made that call to do that to a student who clearly needs the time, perhaps more than her counterparts?
I can't answer who made that call last year.
Dondi, we're just off Sunset Boulevard right here, and obviously we're a step away, if you can tell by the background. We're actually down the hill, and the hotel where the actual situation is transpiring is off camera to our right. Now, we're away from it for two reasons. First is our safety. We don't exactly know what is transpiring in that hotel room. There is what appears to be a shot-out window. Again, that's just what it appears to be, but we don't exactly know who might be in that hotel room or what they might have with them. So we're obviously stepped away from that situation. Additionally, we don't want to broadcast where the officers are. There is a significant law enforcement presence here, several agencies, West Columbia Police, of course, Lexington County Sheriff's Department. You also have state troopers, and as you were touching on, especially when it comes to the traffic, they have blocked off a lot of roads. We'll see if we can maybe zoom in and show what we can here. Obviously, there's the Starbucks that Donnie was mentioning a little bit earlier, but you can see first responder vehicles have essentially blocked off multiple intersections, multiple roads. In order to get here, we had to take some back roads, and it seems like those may have been subsequently shut off once we got here as well. In terms of what exactly has been transpiring, it's been a relatively calm scene since we arrived. Obviously, you have a lot of officers on high alert, but nothing, thankfully, nothing violent or dramatic has transpired. I did get an opportunity to reach out to the spokeswoman for the city of West Columbia who's handling media communication right now. All she could tell us is that there is an individual barricaded and, of course, to avoid the area. Once we hear more, we will let you know. Reporting in West Columbia, Chris Joseph, WIS News 10. Well, Dondi, the first thing to know is that both hemp and marijuana come from the cannabis plant. Now, state law says some cannabis is legal, some cannabis is not. That gray area is leaving the hemp store, Crown Town Cannabis, with an uncertain future. Columbia police officers and SLED agents streamed into Crown Town Cannabis this January, seizing up to 20 pounds of green plant-like material believed to be marijuana, and taking the store's manager in handcuffs.
I can only compare it to if you were sitting watching your house being broken into or your family being violated in real time and feeling completely helpless.
Michael Sims co-owns the store with Dan Henschke. Why you guys? What happened?
Ultimately,
I saw they got some cannabis on the windows.
CPD says it got a tip the store was selling marijuana. The department sent in an undercover agent and alleges manager Connie Jackson sold green plant-like material, presenting it as unprocessed hemp and marijuana. The law requires a license for unprocessed hemp, something CPD says Jackson didn't have. Marijuana remains illegal. To be clear, it wasn't marijuana?
No, sir.
No, never.
CPD claims some of it did test positive for marijuana, but didn't release the results or methods. The co-owners say they're aware of the results, but doubt the testing process. CPD's spokesperson says some products also tested positive for hemp. The law around hemp leaf and whether Jackson or anyone in the store needed a license is open to interpretation. Hemp is legal, but it has to fall under the federal limit for THC. THC is the compound that gets you high. State law says that hemp has to be processed, and that only involves turning the hemp into a marketable form. A 2019 opinion letter from the Attorney General's office says putting hemp leaf in a package doesn't cut it. But that opinion isn't the law.
I want someone to explain to me how you can get something growing from a plant, dried, trimmed, and packaged or put into a smokable form in a joint without describing a process.
Defense attorney Seth Rose represents Jackson. He's also a state representative at the General Assembly.
Does anyone out there think that hemp flower is a major issue facing our community? Hemp flower. Hemp is legal. It's processed down into a flour.
We asked Columbia Police to explain its views on processing hemp, but a spokesperson said the department simply follows the law. So we tried again.
I'm Chris Joseph with WIS. Want to see if Chief Holbrook is here. Hoping for some information related to your hemp policy, how y'all delineate processed from unprocessed hemp.
I can only call the secretary to find out, okay?
That's all I would ask. Thank you, ma'am.
The chief wasn't available and later declined to go on record. Meanwhile, the city's business license office threatened to withhold the store's license, saying there's been unlawful activity, convicting the store before the cases are decided.
Well, who's been charged and who's been found guilty of anything illegal here? No one. So, I mean, you're telling me that I can't renew my business license due to what?
We sat down with business license administrator Kelly Smith in her lobby, with a city attorney in the background.
Why say unlawful activity if there have been no convictions?
Well, I run the business license division, so my team is behind me, as you can see. I don't run CPD, so whatever investigations they have going on, I don't want to interfere with that.
So CPD told you there was unlawful activity?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Had CPD provided you any documentation showing there had been convictions?
I can't answer that.
Well, there have been no convictions, so the answer is no. So, again, where does the business license office find the authority to shut down a business if they can't prove unlawful activity has happened?
So unlawful activity in my ordinance is based on information that I receive, and it's a judgment call that I can make based on that information.
So you made that call. So why make that call?
Because of the information that I received from CPD.
Smith didn't elaborate, but CPD says it provided her information about the seizure. The city later provided the business license on several conditions, including the removal of cannabis signage.
Why was it important to change the signage?
It was mutually discussed.
Why was it important to change the signage?
It was mutually discussed.
But the co-owners say their business has already taken a hit from the lost product, slashing their profits and forcing customers elsewhere.
We're at a complete competitive disadvantage. They come in here, they ask for it, they leave because we're not allowed to carry it.
Not everyone is following the same rules.
I bought this green plant-like material in a store in downtown Columbia. At a second store, I bought this joint filled with hemp leaf. At all the other stores I visited, they told me they couldn't sell those products.
I say to the Attorney General and everybody else watching, if this is such a serious issue and you want this to be the law, then make it a law and not an opinion letter. And very clearly state what is allowed and what isn't.
An industry facing the consequences of a state law, which leaves too much to interpretation.
Now, I've submitted freedom of information requests with the Columbia Police Department and SLED, in addition to the City of Columbia, for more information about hemp policies and what has happened in this situation. Judy?
All right. So if you can get in there, this was the first leak. This is not, I've had 2 leaks since I've been here.
Okay.
Or everything that's falling out, everything is falling out from under the mobile home.
On September 23rd, a woman who asked to be called Miss Richards gave us a tour of the mobile home she's renting on Santa Circle in South Congaree. At every turn, there was a new problem.
Oh, yeah, sure enough, it's already started.
Yeah, because it's leaking from my thing. Anytime I run it, it leaks. So this is what she did. She put a piece of wood over it one time, put sand over it.
So this is your septic tank?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
This is one of the big holes. As you see this, I had this stuffed in. Look, they got the roaches. Now this is the hole. They're coming from outside.
Is that like rat poop?
They chewed up the wood. The rats are chewing up the wood.
She says the roaches and rats forced her to put in a playpen in her own living room.
I had to stay up at night to make sure roaches wouldn't attack my kids. So they don't sleep in their room. My little ones sleep with me. And I'm just fed up. I'm tired. I'm living a nightmare. I'm fed up. I'm tired.
One thing I think people might ask is why stay here?
Right.
If it's
Well, in the beginning, my light bill, because she has electrical issues since I came in. So in the beginning, my light bill was about $1,700 a month. So it's hard for you to pay $700 a month of light bill and pay $700 a month of rent and try to save up to move. And the money that I spent daily, like $93 a day, just to keep the roaches down, to keep the rats out. You know, I rat spray. I mean, I'm spending too much just to keep them safe, to even save up to leave.
DHEC records show the agency first alerted landlord Naomi Halter about the wastewater leak back in November. After months of back and forth, the agency ordered her to fix it in May. However, yesterday, DHEC told us that Halter had met the requirements of that order. DHEC inspectors had gone to the site 3 times, once in June before our interview with Richards and twice thereafter, finding no wastewater leaks. Richards tells us that the leak continues as of Tuesday. The same week we talked with Richards, I took a short drive to Genesis Circle. Neighbors shared a similar story.
We can't, some of us cannot afford to move just like that. Like I'm saying, I'm on a fixed income.
Neighbors showed me more holes in the floor and even a burst water pipe. This video was filmed in September. DHEC reports first notifying Halter about the leak in March. The agency reported to WIS this week the situation has been corrected. The tenant won't get to enjoy the repairs. Halter evicted her in September over missing rent. An email from the Federal Rental Assistance Program SE Stay Plus shows it told Halter the money was coming in August, but the eviction proceeded. South Carolina's Residential Landlord and Tenant Act requires a landlord to keep the premises in a fit and habitable condition. Richards has taken Halter to court, and a magistrate ordered Halter to make repairs in June. A follow-up hearing was scheduled for earlier in October. She attempted to hold Halter accountable here at the Oak Grove Magistrate's office. The goal was to have Halter held in contempt of court. That hearing was continued. Attempts to arrange an interview with Halter and her attorney for this story were unsuccessful.
No one is in the office at the present time. Please leave a message, name, and number.
I sat down with South Congaree's chief of police, its mayor, and its part-time code enforcer. They say code enforcement has become a recent priority for the department.
Was code enforcement being done to the top tier to where it's at now? Absolutely not. Was there certain things that were addressed? It was, and those things will be on a complaint basis. Councils change, mayors change, people change, and you know, we're going to follow the lead of our leaders. And this mayor has said that she wants to clean up the town, and that's what we're going to do.
The special called council meeting will come to order.
In the last month, the town council debated and approved a 6-month contract with the company to be the town's building inspector and assist with code enforcement as requested. Town ordinances require an annual May inspection by a building official before a license permit is given, something that hadn't been happening while the town was looking to fill the position. Chief Josh Schumpert says his tools are limited because lease disputes are civil, not criminal matters.
Some of this stuff is out of our hands, so to speak, and sometimes that's sad because they call us thinking we can fix it and we can't. We don't have authority in those courts to do anything.
That's not to say the department is powerless. Sergeant Chad Walker has cited mobile home owners across the town for ordinances he can enforce, namely unoccupied buildings or using the homes as a storage facility.
The ones that have come to court have, I think they understand now. I hope they understand because it's not going to stop.
Municipal court found Halter guilty on 11 violations of the unoccupied building ordinance. Her business licenses were revoked, and an appeal hearing will be heard by Mayor Cindy Campbell and the rest of town council. Without directly addressing Halter, the mayor discussed mobile homes in the town.
I think about human rights issues and the fact that these families have rights, and the fact that we have children that don't speak up for themselves. I mean, I'm a grandma, I know. You know, these children need somebody to fight for them.
It's unclear how the council will vote.